Dragon Age is a title that we've talked about here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content here, guys. But I want to talk about Dragon Age 4. So this is a game, guys, that is reportedly still in pre-production. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of things that we can speculate about. The rumblings, the talk, you know, speculation, all of those things are starting to really ramp up with this title. Lots of people are excited about it. Dragon Age, guys, as well as like Elder Scrolls and Avowed and all these different titles that are being announced as brand new IPs or ones that are continuing. There's a lot of excitement that's coming out of these like middle-aged types of games. And so with Dragon Age 4, I want to talk about everything that we know so far about this game, and I would love to get your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Let's get a real conversation going. So with that being said, guys, in an article written by Lauren Morton of PC Gamer, Dragon Age 4 is reportedly still in pre-production, but we can guess some details about its characters, settings, and gameplay. Dragon Age 4 was for several years one of the most open secrets in gaming after the ending of Dragon Age Inquisition's final DLC made it very clear that the saga of Thetis was far from over. We've been expecting another Dragon Age game to follow it. BioWare spent years dodging any official confirmation. The fourth game was in the works, while executive producer Mark Dara continued his tradition of using Twitter to share fan works and make cryptic statements to tease fans. Now BioWare have said in no uncertain terms that they're working on the next Dragon Age game, though we still know precious little about it from a short narrated teaser trailer, behind-the-scenes video, and some concept art. So we're thinking, you know, that BioWare have begun to sprinkle out teasers more frequently as of summer 2020. So with that, the Gamescom 2020 opening night live show gave us a look at some of the early production of Dragon Age 4. The video shows off concept art, some 3D environments, a bit of voice acting production, and some gameplay prototypes. It's a bit too early to count anything seen as true Dragon Age 4 gameplay, but getting a look at the process is something at least. And I gotta agree with that because, you know, getting at least something, guys, seeing some behind the scenes, a lot of times you'll be able to get like some Easter eggs that they kind of show off, and you might not be, you know, you have to kind of like look at those things in quite a bit of detail. But from what we're seeing so far, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about it. Now, full disclosure, guys, as far as Dragon Age, I'm not extremely familiar with all the lore and such. Dragon Age Inquisition was the first game that I personally played in the entire franchise. You know, I haven't been, you know, a part of this, you know, franchise in a major way, but haven't really been a part of any of these middle, you know, the Middle Ages and such of, you know, these types of you know, types of games like Elder Scrolls, and I just really have never played a lot of these titles in the past, or at least, you know, I've played them more recently, but, you know, it's not something that I've been really close to. So a lot of the characters, a lot of the different places in these games, guys, I'm just not incredibly familiar with. But from what we've seen and what we've heard, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about Dragon Age 4. Now, EA didn't mention the next Dragon Age game by name during EA Play in June, but they did make some allusions to it. BioWare imagines in Creative's worlds where you become the hero of your own story, and we're using this next generation of technology to make those fantasy worlds your reality. They didn't say that these are screenshots of Dragon Age 4 in development, but if that isn't a bunch of red lyrium, I'll eat my boots, which is very true, guys. I do believe that some of these screenshots that they did show off at EA Play in June are absolutely from Dragon Age 4. We don't have a release date for Dragon Age 4 yet. There are still a lot of things we don't know about the game. We do know that it's likely still quite a ways off. In August 2020, General Manager Casey Hudson described Dragon Age 4 as still in early production, which is really interesting, guys, that all these games that are, you know, gonna just, you know, have like this style of play, right? Like you look at Avowed, you look at Elder Scrolls 6, now you look at Dragon Age 4. These types of games, it seems like they're a ways off. It's like, oh yeah, they're years away, like, you know, like what they stated with Elder Scrolls 6, and then of course, now with Dragon Age 4, it's in early production. Avowed seems like it could be the first one to come out, and that's a brand new IP from Obsidian, so that's something to really keep an eye on, because they might try to take a lot of these players who are really used to playing, you know, Dragon Age or Elder Scrolls. It's going to be a real battle, guys, to say the least. But in my opinion, I'm thinking we're going to hear a lot more about Dragon Age 4 next year. So in 2021, I think we're going to start hearing a lot more about it. I would assume that we're going to see it come out at the very earliest, late 2021. I would say 2022 is probably when we can expect it. ultimately, though, guys, it really comes down to when BioWare wants to release this thing and when it's fully ready, because we want it to be ready, guys. If it's going to take absolutely years upon years to come out, take your time, BioWare. Take your time. We know what happens when they don't take their time and you kind of rush projects out and it becomes a real nightmare, right? Games that could be so good and then end up not being very good because of whether they're, a lot of bugs and fixes that need to happen, or they're just rushed. And so don't rush Dragon Age 4, please. In BioWare's September 2019 update, on its blog, General Manager Casey Hudson, amidst news about Anthem's future, says one of our projects has a large and growing team in Edmonton working through pre-production, and based on the progress I'm seeing, I can confirm that indeed the Dreadwolf rises. The good news is that BioWare is no longer allergic to saying the words new Dragon Age game in public. The bad news is that Hudson mentions this quasi-unnamed project is still in pre-production. For games of the size that BioWare makes, this means there's still a long road ahead. Which is true most likely, but you might get surprised, guys. I think a lot of times with these developers, they, even if a game is still a ways away, they, or even if it's closer than you might think, there's a lot of games out there that are, people think are, a long ways off, but then they start showing stuff a lot sooner, and then you get a release date, and it's like, wow, this is coming out a lot sooner than I thought. So an example like Elder Scrolls, guys, yes, that is a game that has been years and years away. This game, though, may actually be an outlier, and they might say, yeah, it's an early production, but they're actually trying to, just kind of giving themselves a little bit of some time here. Whether or not they're really far in production is another question for another day, but it'll be interesting to say the least. So, is Dreadwolf Rises the title of Dragon Age 4? It could be, or it might just be a statement about the plot. Whether or not the game is named after our friend Solus, he will certainly be playing a pivotal role, it seems. Which characters will be in Dragon Age 4? Now, Dragon Age has a history of reusing characters like Varric, who is a companion in both Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, and cameos like Zevran, who shows up in a Dragon Age 2 quest after being a party member in Dragon Age Origins. So, look, guys, as far as the names go, I'm not very good with the names in this title. That's because, obviously I'm not as familiar with this franchise, the long-standing franchise. I mean, I never played, Dragon Age 2. I only played Inquisition, like I said, but I will have to go back and play these other ones because I'm getting pretty interested and intrigued by Dragon Age 4. So far, BioWare is committed to hanging up its protagonist between Dragon Age games. Each adventure comes with a new hero, though the Grey Warden and Hawk do have the ability to cameo in Dragon Age Inquisition. One character we know will play a part in the events of Dragon Age 4 is the Dreadwolf himself. Solus's voice is heard in the first teaser trailer for the game, and his relationship to the greater struggles of Thetis means he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Another old friend that may make a comeback is Fenris, the Tevinter 11 warrior from Dragon Age 2. Dark Horse recently announced another Dragon Age comic featuring Fenris called Blue Wraith. It's hard to say whether Fenris appearing in a comic is setting him up for a cameo in Dragon Age 4 or for retirement as a character. So the setting, guys. Dragon Age 4 almost has to take place in Tevinter. The mage-run society with the diverging branch of the Chantry has been the mythical boogeyman throughout the series. Not only did the final Trespasser DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition end with the Inquisitor stabbing Tevinter with a dagger, but there have been plenty of very promising signs leading us to the northern country since then. And look, here's my thing. My whole thing about the setting, guys, is a lot of times with these games, I don't necessarily care where the setting is necessarily. The things I care about, though, are that there's differences. Look, you want there to be similarities to previous Dragon Age games, but you definitely want there to be differences so it doesn't feel repetitive. You want it to still have that feel, those gameplay, the mechanics of a Dragon Age title, but you want differences. And for me, I want a lot of variety in the locations that I'm exploring and such. That's a big thing to me. So whether you're in Tevinter or if you're somewhere else, it doesn't matter to me. I just want there to be that variety, guys. I don't want it to feel very repetitive. It's okay to have some similarities, but definitely have differences from the other, other Dragon Age games. Now, that version of Dragon Age 4 was subsequently canceled at BioWare's Edmonton branch, pivoted to assist developing first Mass Effect Andromeda and then Anthem. Dragon Age 4 has since been resurrected under the new codename Morrison. Now, what I'm going to say, guys, is Mass Effect Andromeda, I've stated this many times, I thought that it was actually pretty underrated. I understand why people didn't like it that much, but I get why people, didn't enjoy it, but I also think that it's a little bit of an underrated Mass Effect title. BioWare is basically 0 for 2 lately because obviously they had Mass Effect Andromeda, which was met with a lot of criticism, and then Anthem was absolutely killed, guys. So I think that BioWare, I'm just hoping that they don't mess up Dragon Age 4, and that's why I've been stating, guys, that just take your time at the end of the day. Dragon Age 4 will be a story about having no power. In the Gamescom trailer, lead writer Patrick Weeks described how Dragon Age 4's story will diverge from Inquisition. For the game we're working on now, we want to tell the story of what happens when you don't have power, what happens when the people in charge aren't willing to address the issues, which I think is a really interesting concept, guys. What will Dragon Age 4's gameplay be like? It will certainly be an RPG, or so one would assume. But beyond that, any real details about Dragon Age 4 are still very hush. From Kotaku's report on the first version of Dragon Age 4, codenamed Joplin, a large chunk of Joplin would center on heist. The developers talked about building a systemic narrative mechanics allowing the player to perform actions like persuading or extorting guards without the writers having to handcraft every scene. The goal was to focus as much as possible on choice and consequence, with smaller areas and fewer fetch quests than Dragon Age Inquisition. So that reminds me a lot of like another title from, of course, BioWare, Mass Effect, making choices and there being consequences, and, it kind of changes the narrative, changes the ending of the game, which for these titles, guys, is totally fine. I always like to see, games kind of change that somewhat. Like in Mass Effect, I would have personally liked Mass Effect at some point or another throughout the course of its history. I would have liked Mass Effect to actually try not having the choice and consequence in it. Now, I know it was really good for the first 3 games, but at some point or another, I like it when they change things like that slightly, where it doesn't feel super repetitive on making choices and there being consequences and things of that nature. And so with Dragon Age 4, it sounds like that's going to be coming, obviously, but I kind of like there being changes, like I said, slight changes in tone and such. But with that, is Dragon Age 4 going to be an online-only like Anthem? In early 2018, Kotaku reported that Dragon Age 4 had been rebooted as a live game to better fit with EA's push for games as a service that could continue to generate revenue after initial launch sales. After the report, BioWare's general manager Casey Hudson clarified that live didn't necessarily have to be at odds with what players love about Dragon Age games. So here's what I'm going to say about that, guys. We all know that EA is all about, the games as a service, the monetization tactics and strategies and things of that nature. And I've stated many times my thoughts on monetization and, those strategies and tactics that these different companies use. But all I will say is this. I just don't want it to be, deceptive to the consumer. I don't really want this to be a games as a service necessarily. Sure, maybe end game content, but I'm thinking more along the lines, I want a full package. I want a, single player story. I want a multiplayer, and I want co-op, modes as well. I want all 3 of those things. And it's okay to have this as like Elder Scrolls Online, where this is going to be like Dragon Age Online or something like that. I'm totally cool with that. But don't make it just that. In my opinion, that is a terrible idea. That's going away from what, from what Dragon Age was built on. And you can't do that because, you can, but I think you're going to be met with a ton of criticism. Now, BioWare certainly won't be immune to whatever monetization strategies EA enforces. We can hope that the BioWare team manages to fit those goals into a form that doesn't feel at odds with the single-player first-person or first experience we expect from a Dragon Age game. So, look, guys, I gotta say, I'm very excited about Dragon Age 4. I really am. I think that there's a lot of hope here that this is going to be, a real step in the right direction for BioWare, because they've had a couple of really titles, one being underrated in my personal opinion, but still was met with a lot of criticism, that being Andromeda. And then Anthem, of course, was just hit with so many issues, guys. And so now I think BioWare is like all in on Dragon Age 4, in my personal opinion. I think that they are really going all in on this title. And I just want them to take their time. Take your time. And if you're going to have monetization and such, just, make sure it's not deceptive to consumers. Have earnable items over payable items is the other thing I'm really a big fan of. Having more earnable items than payable items. And make those earnable items better than the payable items so people actually try to earn the game. It brings people back to the game. I've always stated that with games like Call of Duty and such. Having earnable items over payable items is the way to go, in my personal opinion, to build a very loyal fan base. A fan base that's going to come back and try to earn a lot of those really cool items that you can get in-game. But with that, guys, that's everything that we know so far about Dragon Age 4. It's not a lot at this point. A lot of it is speculation, and the rumblings and talk are really ramping up. But it's something. And as we get more information, I'll be sure to let you guys all know. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, though, about Dragon Age 4. What do you guys think? What do you want to see out of this game? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Dragon Age 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.